show you'd endorse.
Paige is singing, of course.
And Mikey loves a woman with teeth like a horse.
And Todd's getting winky blinky, cause RTB is simply irresistible.
It's so fun, you complete us to completion.
This podcast irresistible.
I let these hosts fit right on my face.
Get us on that
Space
space
this
list.
fly, and this pod is the reason.
This podcast
That's
irresistible.
the show, cause there's a character limit.
Simply irresistible.
Damn, girl. You podcast with that ass?
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
I'm Mikey Randolph on vacation.
You are Vacation Mikey, and I am Todd Schlosser. And this week, Paige made us watch Lady Jane. So, Paige,
Are you mad at us?
No.
why did you make us sit through what felt like sitting in like a 1978 English class that had a substitute all week, and they punished us by making us watch this movie?
Here's what I will tell you. First of all, my English teacher mother made me watch this movie as a young child, and that's where I have
so
seen
much
it.
sense.
Secondly, I picked this for two reasons.
Her name is Lady and Jane. Boom.
End of list. People have asked us a lot when we are going to do Princess Bride, and we are saving it for a big milestone. And thus, we have not had any Cary Elwes, let alone young Cary Elwes. We did, except for that one Scottish one.
Yes.
But I wanted Princess Bride era Cary Elwes, and this is as close as you get because this is the year before.
Yeah.
So that's what this is.
This is the youngest I've seen him or Helena Bonham Carter.
Right.
She doesn't even look like the same person.
She doesn't.
I know. Jake watched half this movie with me today and was like, who is that? I was like, it's Helena Bonham Carter. And he was like, whoa, what? And I was like, yeah.
She generally looks like she got electroshocked.
Yeah.
She stuck a penny in the socket or whatever. I think this is before then.
Probably a shilling, Mikey. Come on.
It's a shilling, not a penny. She definitely is 57% eyebrow in this movie, and I'm living for it. But second reason is because my memory of this movie starts at about Act 2. Watch. You texted me last night, and I was like, we can pick something else if you want.
When you were like, we can pick something, I was like, girl, I've watched an hour of this. I'm not going to abandon this an hour in. I've already.
Now, the first act, I think, is primarily history for people who, like us, did not grow up with this in their history books necessarily. But I can easily summarize it in a handful of minutes.
Yeah. This is definitely like a footnote in a history book I had to go through in school, right?
Sure.
Of course, they talked about, Henry VIII, Mary, and Elizabeth, and then King James.
Right.
But that was forever ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They definitely. This was not in most history books, although they are real people, and we have some facts about the real people for fun facts. But
hell yeah.
If you like this at all, you will like The Tudors.
Well, I guess I just eliminated a show from my to-do list.
There you
Mikey,
go.
Tudors is nothing like this. It was like if this movie was produced in a way that was watchable, and there'd be a lot of fucking in it, baby. So
there's a lot more fucking
yeah.
in The Tudors. Yeah, that is true. And it's Henry Cavill, so
I would strongly recommend watching The Tudors. I would stab myself in the eye with Mikey's foot before I watch this again.
But Todd,
ma'am,
did you watch seasons 3 and 4 of The Tudors?
I watched. Okay, so I have this thing.
Of course you did not. Nobody did.
No. I did. Paige, I have this thing when I really like a show, I watch all of it, but I don't
to the bitter end.
I don't watch the last 2, 3, or 4 episodes because I don't want it to end. So in my mind, it just still goes on forever. That's my toxic trait.
Boy, we got to get you some therapy here, boy.
The last few episodes were not the problem for me. It was the season where that it is germane to this film. They send Henry Cavill's character off to do war against the Catholics and murder a bunch of people and steal their valuables and stuff.
Yeah.
I had a good time watching this movie, but I know that's because I'm a nerd. And I also know that this movie has wild Romeo and Juliet energy where you're like, homegirl, you met him less than a month ago. Let's not die about it. What are we doing?
Oh, she didn't die about him. She died about God, Paige. How dare you?
I know. That's even worse.
Girl,
It's
I would have
so
been
dumb.
Catholic so fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, his dad, it's implied that his dad does convert to Catholicism.
Yes,
which,
and lives.
Yes.
Same with her mom.
That's what you do, my man. Like, what are you
Well,
doing?
not when you're a dumb kid who's like an idealist.
I mean, these are like people's first serious relationship in college where they learn about socialism for the first time.
That's exactly the
Oh
vibe
my
I got.
Exactly.
They're like, we're going to clothe all the homeless. I'm like, they're getting murdered.
Immediately.
She may have actually done some of that historically because that would be a smart play.
In 9 days?
Yeah, I mean, she might have passed all kinds of crazy-ass proclamations that never happened.
The messenger didn't even get to the south of England or like the north of England until...
Well, Mikey, that's why it's not in our history books. It's in England's, just not ours.
It probably took them 7 of those days to get the first message that she was queen out to the furthest town.
Do you
or
know how
whatever.
long it took to carve that new shilling?
Under 9 days, I guess. Like,
Under 9 days. Here's my thing. One of my favorite quotes from Blackadder is when he says, Sir Thomas More famously forgot to say, I recant my Catholicism, basically being like, you could have stopped yourself from dying. All you had to say was, I recant my Catholicism. And it's the flip in this movie where all she had, well, now here's the thing though. They do quiz her on the sacraments, and I'm like, 7? Where are the other 5? Like, I would not have known.
I'm glad you asked because he goes through all of them, Paige.
I know. You could cut 50 to 60 minutes out of this film, and we wouldn't miss it.
This is the first movie we've done that you could easily cut a full-ass hour out
A full
of.
hour. When she's walking to the throne, it's like 5 minutes.
What's your favorite quote from this film?
Oh, the quote about joining the life invisible where she is assured of pure bliss. That's the best quote in this movie, hands down.
I couldn't hear any of them because of the terrible audio mix that was on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is an old... Now, here's the thing. I watched it on my TV in my living room instead of in my headphones, and it did not bother me as much.
Oh, well,
but-
here at a beach house,
Oh,
it
wow.
sounded like people whispering in a corner and then a live medieval band marching through the living room.
Mikey's all rich with his beach house.
It's not my beach house.
But a beach house you have access to for the week,
Yes.
right?
That's what you do when you rent a beach house.
Which makes you like a temporary owner. So,
Mikey owns a beach house, guys.
This film might be the worst movie to watch on a beach vacation.
Oh, that makes sense. To be fair, I did not plan for you to have to watch this on your beach vacation.
But Paige, I would also argue this is the worst movie to watch at home.
I gave you 3 options. You both picked this one. And then I gave you a mulligan of like, do you want to pick again? And you guys said no.
I'm not doing. I picked up your Grease 2 vibes.
I guarantee you, if Mikey hadn't already started the movie, he would have said yes. Like if he wasn't already an hour committed, he would have pulled the ripcord for sure.
No, me watching this film as Beach Mikey was like the multiverse clashing. I was just like so different that you're just like, what is this? My mom was like, this movie's terrible. And I was like, this movie is terrible.
Thanks,
Okay,
Mom.
but imagine this movie if it was just Act 2. Then it's just the end of the first season of Bridgerton, and we're all having a good time.
I mean, if we actually got any of the romance, like this movie completely skips any reason for them to be in love.
Except they're young and hot.
Yeah, there
Well,
it is.
sure,
I would,
yeah, but they're not in love at that point. They're just banging it out.
And they're like medieval hot.
Like I said, it's Romeo and Juliet in this movie,
Yeah.
but I would fully cut the first like 40 minutes down to about 10 minutes and put that extra 30 minutes in with them on their honeymoon, just so they have more time to get to know each other and stuff. So we believe it a little bit more because they are on that honeymoon for like 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We just only see like 4 shots of it.
You know what I would have loved? Any of that. That would have been great.
Right? No, I'm with you, Todd. I'm not going to argue with you about
What are you
it.
talking about? I want to see people I never see again plotting for half an hour.
Oh my God, Mikey, yeah.
Also, I couldn't hear them. I did see them for that half an hour.
Subtitles, baby. That's the only way I got through it. I'm going to be honest with you.
They're all like important historical figures, and so I think that's why they're putting them there. I'm just like, guys, just cut to the sex.
Of course they're historical figures when characters who clearly know each other in the scene are like saying things like, oh yes, John Dudley. Like, you're not going to say their whole name if you're friends.
Their whole name unless they're super, super important.
Yes, that famous historical figure, John Dudley, with all of the holidays and songs about them.
Isn't that his name?
It is his name, but it does just because there's not holidays and songs, like it changes the course of England for a while, dude.
Yeah.
I'd stop caring about that when I threw tea in a harbor or whatever. There's only one John Dudley, and he was a member of the Dudley Boys in the 80s, and they were World Wrestling Tag Team Champions.
But what essentially this is like the Dudley Boys wanted to be king and was sort of regent for Edward. So like schemed behind the scenes to make the woman who marries his son queen.
Yeah.
Because he wants to rule. So like, and they fail.
Oh, shit. I thought this was about Professor X with his first brand with Lady Jean Grey.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be here to watch that. But part of the reason that he's trying to keep that control is because he wants to keep the country Protestant.
Yes.
And so, like, he can't have Mary because she's Catholic. He can't have Elizabeth because she's technically, air quotes, a bastard. Although, what happens in this movie is basically what happened to Anne Boleyn. Almost exactly. She just had more time.
Although this was more or less a coup, and Anne Boleyn was just married in. But yeah.
Well, but it took basically a coup because they ousted all the Catholics, a bunch of the advisors. So it
was
just
more
took
than a
longer.
coup. They switched religions.
Yeah, they took longer. But part of the biggest reason, and they hint at it in this movie, but if you don't know your history, you might not catch it. When the wars happened, they stole everything from the monasteries. It's in their houses.
Yeah.
So they don't want a Catholic queen because they're gonna get killed if that happens. So they're like, it is life or death.
Yeah, or at least robbed.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have lost a lot had that happened.
Probably killed for the amount of people they killed to get that stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's why. But yeah, she just gets caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah, she does. And her parents and that John Dudley doesn't care about his son. They're just risking these children because they want to save themselves from, a hardship.
Yeah.
They have other kids, and that's why you have multiple. So you can use one as a pawn. That would be like the equivalent. Like if I had 3 boys, I'd send my middle child to the January 6th thing.
What? Why? Why are you sending anyone to that?
Well, you just got to hedge your bets to get your family to gain more power. That's how politics works. But it's just your middle son. So if they get murdered, your oldest is still there to be your heir or whatever.
That's a bad take. I don't think you want to be on microphone saying that.
Actually, I think this is how Robert Kennedy ended up the way he is. So I think Mikey might be onto something.
I don't know. I don't like Robert Kennedy the way he is.
I don't like the way he is either, but he is the opposite of his family.
You have your firstborn child who's the heir. You have your baby who you love, gets all the attention, and your middle child, which is the traditional political pawn.
Usually it's the oldest male child.
Actually, no, Todd, oddly enough, this does hold true because Anne Boleyn's older sister was the one that they hedged their bets on originally, and she does potentially have a child with Henry VIII, but they never get married.
That's because she put out before she got married.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They rest their political aspirations on Anne, and then she does have a younger brother that a lot of people say that she was having an incestuous affair with. I don't believe that, but
of course not.
People said it to slander her and call her a witch.
Of course.
So that is the model that Mikey just displayed.
Yeah. I mean, not to bring us back to this movie, but I will say in the subgenres of monarchy, secession, crisis, rom-coms, this is my least favorite. My favorite, King Ralph.
Yeah, I do like King Ralph.
Well, I've decided that because I don't usually pick in sequential series for this podcast, I do on Horror Virgin. I've decided this is now Royal Fall.
Hell yeah,
So I'm going to
Paige.
pick a bunch of weird monarchy movies. You're welcome. And not necessarily any particular monarchy, just ones I like.
And I will say, she's already told me the two she's picked. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fucking
excited.
wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah. Oh, Paige. Well, I guess, and Mikey. I wrote a Mikey joke for this movie.
Okay.
Oh my God. Do you want to tell it now or do you want to tell it later?
This is what Mikey would say. This is all just a cautionary tale about the hardships that are sure to follow when you let a woman lead.
That is what Mikey would say, unfortunately, and I don't feel welcome anymore, so...
I never said that.
No.
But people are saying.
Fuck you.
Anyway, I don't know why, but I'm going to start trying to write a Mikey joke for every movie because that makes... I just enjoyed the mental exercise of writing a Mikey joke.
I did like that they threw money at the poor people who attacked them, and then they threw it back.
Oh, you mean the only heroes of this movie? The poor people who throw the money at them?
I feel like her mom is the ultimate villain of this film, and I will make my case throughout the film.
I think it's a very easy case to make, Paige.
And her dad, which is like, I'm going to do one thing.
Her dad at least tries to redeem himself later, but ends
her
up getting her
dad
killed.
Ends up getting her killed because he's a fucking moron.
Yes.
Captain Picard, my ass. That guy couldn't captain his way out of a paper bag.
I know he does, but his intentions were out of guilt for her at least, which her
No.
mom feels zero of.
No. His intentions were to make sure that he is as close to the regent as possible. He is a self-serving dick who got his daughter killed.
But only if he could win.
I
That's
know.
the thing. And he couldn't. So like
It's not an allegory for women leading. It's an allegory for women reading.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
fuck you.
That's what led to all of these problems.
No, Mikey, no. I told you my joke. Right on. Perfect impression.
They were kind of bad at leading. Like, they left out the whole politics part.
Well, they're also teenagers.
Yeah, Lady Jane was 17 when she was killed. So, like, yeah, they were very young. I don't know how old her husband was, but...
He's within a couple years of her. They're not very different in age.
My favorite part is that everyone who looks like a grandpa was probably, like, historically, these, like, 30 years old.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've been around for 4 generations.
Like Captain Picard is 32.
Yeah.
Like Cary Elwes is like, I'm 13. I know I look 24 or whatever.
Also, hot take. Captain Picard looked great in a skirt. I'm just going to say it. That dude could rock a skirt.
I think he just looks pretty good in this movie, just in general.
He does.
He's at peak Picard.
He is. This is like, it's before that though, right?
It's literally like 1 year before that. It's 1 year before Next Gen. So he
Oh,
probably
man.
like did this and then immediately found out he got Next Gen, I would guess.
So glad he did. That dude's the best.
I know. The best.
I did think it was the ultimate white woman move to go in actual whiteface for the majority of this movie.
Oh, you mean her mom?
Yeah, she looks like she's Miss Doubtfire without the face mask on, like facing the cake or whatever.
What do you expect? She's 28 years old.
She is a spinster at that age,
She's
Mikey.
almost a corpse. Yeah.
Fun fact, though, the lady who takes over, Mary, she died at like 42.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, their lifespans were short for sure. I mean, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, she dies not long after because ultimately Elizabeth does take over, but
Yeah, and she ruled for a while, and then
a long time.
and then she died without having an heir, so it went to King James, right?
Yes, air
Okay.
quotes unmarried, although there are rumors of her dibble-dabbling with any number of men at court. But yeah,
I mean, good for her.
Good for her.
She's the queen. Queen gotta get some D.
get some.
And by
yeah.
D, I mean every duke at court.
I mean, if you're watching The Tudors, the Duke of Suffolk, like that's what you want.
I suffoced through this film.
Well, speaking of that, maybe we should Suffolk through forcing our listeners to go through it scene by scene. So, you want to get into the movie?
I will. And I will spare you roughly 40 minutes of this film.
Oh, but I have jokes written. No,
Well,
let's go. Let's do it.
I'll go through, and if you have one, stop me. But like,
I don't.
okay, the first 40 minutes. So we open with a title card that basically explains that Henry VIII had died, and he only has 3 heirs. 2 are ruled illegitimate, and then his son Edward is now a teenager, but very sickly, and has been sickly his entire life, and had essentially like a advisor, if you want to call it that way, which was his uncle, the Duke of Somerset. But then that guy gets beheaded in the first like 10 seconds of this movie.
Yeah, and they're like, he's the good Duke. And I'm like, well, if he's so good, why are they beheading him? And that was the Rodney Dangerfield joke I wrote for this episode.
Oh.
I thought he was good because those people underneath his execution thing were going to drink his blood because it tasted good. I don't know. It was a weird little cutaway.
Fun fact, this is a vampire movie. But I do know that people did used to catch Anyway, he gets beheaded.
They catch the head.
They catch the head.
We see him line up to catch her head at the end.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's like the T-shirt canon of 1533 or whatever the fuck this is.
1552. 1552. Mikey, I think that's the closest you've ever estimated a date, and I'm so proud
It
of you.
says it in some point in the movie.
It does. It's 1552. It says it right before this happens. Anyway, so at this point, they're going through the king's will, and they're like, hey, yoo-hoo, there is a cousin that is technically next in line. Maybe we can marry her to the king so that we can like solidify the power. That's the initial plan.
Yeah, to inbreed, like the monarchy does. Yeah.
Like the monarch. Now, granted, she is not his first cousin. She is actually further away than that. So they are still cousins, just not first cousins.
And honestly, that's great. Monarchically speaking, or however you say that.
Monarchically speaking,
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'll brief explainer of how they are related. So Henry VIII, 3 kids. Edward is his kid. Jane's grandmother is Henry's sister.
Yeah.
So then her mom, so she's like once removed.
Yeah, they're 1 generation removed.
Yeah.
It's 1 generation removed, but cousinly. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
First cousin?
I think
second cousin?
I think she's his first cousin once removed. She might be second cousin.
I don't know. If anyone has my last name or any last name of any maiden name in my family, I don't have sex with them. Like, that's my rule.
Well, and they would have had 2 different last names still. But anyway, that's how they're related. So they decide to go talk to her and just be like, hey, yo, what's up? So her family's out hunting. She's at home reading because that's what she do.
Yeah, she's a smart little girl. I mean, she's like 15 or something, but yeah.
Yeah. And this is where she meets Dr. Feckenham, who is the advisor to Queen Mary, who is her cousin. Or rather, I'm sorry, Princess Mary, who is her cousin, Henry VIII's oldest daughter, by Catherine of Aragon. That's why she's allying with Spain. Anyway,
I love Aragon, man.
I know. He's the best in Lord of the Rings.
So good.
Viggo Mortensen, sexy as hell.
Which house has the dragons?
Honestly, probably Spain, but they don't really.
Yeah.
Spain just feels right.
Yeah, right? Anyway, we establish here that she is kind of a bookworm, but that she and her cousin Edward are very, very close. They seem to be very close friends, and they would have grown up together as children.
Yeah, they probably would have hung out at court together.
Also, they're the same age.
Yeah.
We establish. So there is a kinship there.
Sure. Like, it makes complete sense that they would be like pushing them towards getting married. And it would make sense that they would want to get married because they are far enough in, family away to be able to get married at the time. And they would probably have been friends, right?
Yes.
Which is like more than you can ask for at that time, right?
At the time,
Yeah.
yes. I think if they had said to her, hey, you have to marry Edward, I think she would have been happy about it.
Me too.
I think she would have been fine.
You wouldn't have had to spank her on the butt to submission. Like,
You
that
wouldn't
scene
have
is
had
nuts.
to beat her into submission.
That shit's insane.
We'll get to that in just a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Anyway, so she and Edward, buddies. But as they're hanging out, Edward just passes the fuck out because Edward, super sick. In fact, dying.
Yeah, they are like walking on the other side of like the moat, I guess is what you'd call it. And he like is talking to her like normal. And then out of nowhere, he's like, Jane, I feel faint. And then faints. And then she doesn't say shit, man. She keeps her mouth
she's like,
shut.
What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because she doesn't tell anybody about it.
Well, yeah, because like he got an erection and passed out, and it was like weird for everybody.
Is that what it was? He's
That's
like,
where all the blood went.
it's
no.
so big. He only had blood enough for one thing, and that's what happened.
It's like the size of a leg. Anyway, she doesn't tell anybody at the request of Northumberland, who's basically just like, hey, bitch, you don't say shit. And she's like, okay, all right, I won't. But this is where he starts scheming with her mother in particular, because he's like, yo, I've got 3 sons, and they've met his older 2 sons have been at the balls earlier or whatever. And he's like, I've got a 3rd one, and he's definitely a cool guy. And then we cut to him just like passed ass out in a brothel.
Yeah, he's like playing dice, I think, the first time we see him in a brothel bar kind of thing. And he's like fighting, and it's Cary Elwes being awesome. But he's not like an upstanding, holy gentleman like his dad was just portraying him as.
Yes, but this kind of plants the seed. We cut to London, spring of 1553, where Jane goes to visit Princess Mary, because Princess Mary is visiting in London, and Princess Mary is Catholic. But they are cousins. And so Mary is just like, hey, nice to see you, but watch your back, bitch. Like, I'd take care. Because I think Mary has already kind of figured out the machinations of what's probably going to happen.
I assume she left beforehand because she knew it was going to happen and went to go consolidate support from Spain. So she went to another holding of hers or of her family's and just held out there and wrote Spain and hoped they send troops, and they clearly did.
Yep. Now, at this point, we cut to Jane's family, Jane's mom, Guilford's dad, Northumberland. And her mom is like, hey, I think maybe she should marry the king because they like each other. They're friends. They're the same age. And Northumberland's like, bad news bears. That kid's dying like super fast. Super dying.
Yeah, he's got a disease.
He's got tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Or was slowly being poisoned by the Duke of Northumbria. But I mean, who knows?
Could easily be that too.
Well, he did smoke until he was 6 years old, so.
I mean, he was like 15 when he died, so he had a good long life.
Yeah. That's middle-aged. It's not. Anyway, he's dying. And so Northumberland's like, actually, your daughter should marry my youngest son, but then we'll still get her declared queen. And her mom is like, the what? And he's like, bitch, I see all the fancy shit in your house, and I know you stole it from people who be dead because they were Catholic. So do you like your life? Do you want to keep all this nice shit? And she's like, yeah, I do. I am a greedy bitch. Take my daughter. Now, they then just tell Jane, they're like, you're going to marry this guy. They have not asked Guilford. There was no discussion with him at all. They're just like, Jane, you're going to marry him. And she's like, no, and flips the fuck out. I think because she wants to marry Edward, because they do say like, hey, he said yes. And she's like, he would never. Yeah. So they beat her for 2 days.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's ridiculous.
At least she learned her lesson.
Oh, it's bad.
I mean, literally all someone had to do was tell her, hey, the king is dying. He is not going to marry anyone. And we need to marry you to someone for reasons. And she probably would have been like, oh shit, my friend is dying and the person I was hoping to marry. Yeah. But like, yes, of course we have to move on with our lives. And if it's what the king wants me to do, of course I will. Right?
Yeah.
But instead of including her in the discussion, they just take her to a room and beat her for 2 days.
Yeah, they just beat her for 2 days. Because they're like, her brain is too smooth to understand.
Well, we don't talk of brains. That's, you're going to get burned at the stake there, lady.
Yeah, what is this, science? What is this, magic page?
But I could tell they're rich because their child beating room is larger square footage than my current house.
Right? The gallery.
Yeah.
This is our gallery where we just beat children. Our beat children's gallery.
Oh, my God.
If you come down at 7, you'll see the show.
Well, they cane her for 2 days straight. It's fucking terrible.
Dude,
it's
when the
awful.
king shows up and he like consoles her some, and he's like trying to like make me feel sorry for him because he's dying, but the way he's doing that is being like, oh, I didn't get beat as a child. My parents had a child brought in that they would beat him instead of me. Isn't that hard for me to have gone through? No, you fucking spoiled little bitch. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'm sure that was real too. Like, that's the thing. I'm sure it was real.
I'm not mad at the movie. I'm mad at the monarchy of England in the 1550s. Like, that is insane.
Yeah, it's wild for sure.
But there are no good characters in this movie, like at all, except for maybe the poor people that were branded. They're probably fine. Everyone else is like terrible.
I would say close second is Jane and Guilford because they are idealists, but they have no practical understanding of how that bears out.
And they are children. So yes,
and they are children.
That's
they
fair.
are children.
Yeah.
They're like, all we have to do is get the factories to make clothes and everyone will be warm. And you're like, well, that's a little bit more complicated than that. And this is like a capitalistic.
Yeah. Also, what's a factory?
Yeah, what's a factory? You can't just tell the Spanish ambassador to fuck off. Like, girl, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who I'm sure would have told her, hey, Mary's on her way. Like, she would have gotten a heads up.
Oh, it doesn't matter. When they had a heads up because the council chamber had abandoned them, they slept in that room until the guards showed up to arrest them.
Instead of running away.
Idiots.
Yes.
But also,
they're children.
So, like,
they're children.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have to run away, Todd, because they could have been like, yeah, spectacle, testicles, wallet, watch. Okay, don't have to die.
Oh,
yeah.
You're telling the atheist they should. Listen, if I was in jail and they said you can get out of jail if you convert to Catholicism, I'd be like, let's do this, baby. Like, what are we talking about?
I'm a little older now. I'm a realist, and I get that there's a place for idealism or whatever, but like,
not at this place.
Living to fight another day is also a lesson you should learn in your life. I mean,
no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I would have been like, hey, same Jesus, right? Cross, cross, cross. Let me free. And then I would have run as far as I could go.
Yeah. And like 1,000 years, they'll all be like, they're like allies or whatever. They're like, whatever.
Yeah.
The Reformation. Was it even correct? Who knows? I don't know. Don't cut my head off.
How dare you bring Martin Luther into this? That's after this.
Why? Obviously.
No,
is it?
wait. When was Martin Luther?
Before this?
When
oh, my
was it?
God.
I thought he was the 1960s. Sorry.
Oh, bastard. 95 Theses.
Oh, it was just before this page. It was
1517.
Yeah.
Because Henry VIII was reading
That's right.
a lot of his writings and pamphlets to do the Church of England. It's whatever. Anyway.
That's right.
Anyway, Jane flips the fuck out, but the king comes and is like, I'm sorry, they beat you within an inch of your life. I would like you to marry this guy. And she's like, you would? And he stopped short of being like, bitch, I am dying. Help yourself.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
whatever.
But instead of that, he's like, here's a marionette. Let's play with it for 3 full minutes of this 2.5 hour movie.
He was just being like, this is what they're going to do to you.
Yeah. This is what you are.
Yeah.
I mean, so was he, though, fully.
I mean, because he's a fucking child.
I
Anyway.
know, he was 15 or whatever.
Yeah, so he's dying. And we cut to him literally like actively dying. And the doctors are there. And Northumberland is like, I need more time because I need to marry these 2 people off and fix the will. What can we do? And the doctor's like, dude, he's going to die this week.
Yeah.
And he's like, anything you can do to, and he's like, we could give him arsenic and he'll technically be alive, but he'll be in excruciating pain. So it's basically like, we could poison him for a month. Does that work for you? And he's like, perfect, do it. And you're just like, what a monster. Oh my God.
There are no good people in this movie, except for the kids.
Yeah. Anyway, at this point, he's like, go find my youngest son. And this is where they pull him out. Like, they invade a brothel, they find him, clean him up, pull him out, and they literally drive him to the palace the next day, and they're like, you're getting married fucking tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, have fun with that. Nothing you could do about it.
Which I'm not sure how uncommon that was.
It's not uncommon.
This whole scene played out at my friend's bachelor party.
Wait.
Oh, what?
What?
Well, like, we went out. Then we had to drag them back in. We went gambling. There was people. We had to pull them out. When we went and got married, the next day, it's fine.
But I'm pretty sure he, like, knew he was getting married. I don't think Guilford did. I think Guilford like arrived there the day before and was like, married? Oh shit, I should probably meet her. Like, great.
I think they meet once before they actually do get married, right?
That one time, and he's a total asshole about it.
It worked out for them. Maybe this is what I should do.
Yeah, Mikey, they did find true love in the 9 days they were married or whatever.
No, they're married for like 2 weeks, and then the 9 days is from when Edward dies and she gets declared queen. Then it's 9 days from that point. So they
may have been married a whole month or so.
I think they're married for a month, but I think they're actually in jail together for like an additional almost a year.
Do they share a cell the whole time, or is it just that one night?
They get separated a couple different times. I'll burn a fun fact, I guess, right? A super sad fun fact right now. But while he was imprisoned away from her, the real person this is about carved her name inside his cell at the Tower of London, and you can still see it there today.
What the fuck? That is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super sad, but it's cool you can go see it. Like,
sad.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love history like that. Like, that's so fucking cool.
And then he drew boobs underneath it, and it was just awful.
And you can still see those boobs today.
You can still see the boobs. I did go to the Tower of London the last time I was in the UK and went to where they killed Anne Boleyn, and I was like, this is a real bummer. And then they had the crown jewels on display. I was like, wow. Do you think people that they stole these from are mad?
Yes, they are, Paige. Yeah.
England is so pretentious. This is like if we made a movie about like my mayoral election happening in our city. This is so like, I don't know.
We absolutely would do that, Mikey. Mikey, America will make movies about people who didn't even get close to winning elections. Like, we are very self-absorbed.
So is England.
We learned it from watching them, Paige. We learned it from watching them.
Are you a loyalist, Paige?
No, I'm just saying, apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Are you a Benedict Arnold?
Oh, Paige, I knew it.
Benedict Arnold.
But this movie, at least Cary Elwes' like introduction to this movie reminds me of The King. Have you guys seen The King? It's on Netflix now, but it's like a 2019 movie with like Timothée Chalamet. But I think it's really great. It's based on the Shakespeare's Henriette. It's really good.
Yeah, I just don't really do Timothy
Chalamet.
Shamalama.
It's like your parents were always pretentious. That's how you say it. Chalamet. Yeah.
Timothée Chalamet. He's fine. I like him in Dune or whatever.
He's so good in Dune, yeah.
People try to make him like a heartthrob, and I'm like, no, he's too pointy. I can't do it.
If you're like super into Final Fantasy, like I get why you'd be into Chalamet, but like he is rather waifish, I think. Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm. Whereas you are more into cable knit muscly dudes.
Absolutely.
I like famous people that I know I could beat up.
So Chalamet's like up your alley then.
Yeah. Like I don't see Chalamet being cast as like Batman anytime soon, but then I don't know.
They cast Pattinson, and I'm pretty sure we could all beat him up.
I don't think so. I think
he bulked up for that role.
Yeah, he did good.
He didn't though. There was like news stories about it where he like refused to go to training and shit.
God damn it, that sounds just like my boy Robert.
What does it sound like Batman?
For sure. Yeah.
Robert Peter Pattinson.
Anyway, back to this movie. They meet each other, and she's just like, hey, I know we're getting married, but could we be friends and live separately? And he's just like, oh yeah, bitch, I was hitting all the bitches last night, and I was drunk and gambling, and it was a good night until I had to get married to fucking you. And you're like, wow, they are teenagers.
It's like every first date I go on, pretty much.
You admit that you were with a sex worker the night before? I think I understand why your first dates are not being so successful.
Yeah, I think so.
I believe in radical honesty.
At least have the decency to lie.
Oh, God. But it's very 15-year-old of like, my dad said we had to go out, but I'm not going to like it. Like that, very much so.
But Daddy only shaves once a month.
And you know what? Thank goodness.
He does have big Outlander vibes of being like the most attractive person in 1533, though.
Yeah, so the most showered man in England.
Well, everyone else is aggressively like 60 playing a 40-year-old, like
30-year-old.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Mid-30s for sure. Yeah. They didn't have retinol back then, Mikey. You got to forgive their faces.
This is the thing about the Tudors as well, where there's a handful of them in the Tudors where there's like some of the younger guys are kind of good looking, but you can't miss Henry Cavill in like every scene he's in. It's just like, Yeah, the most showered man in England.
Yeah.
There he is.
The only hot dude in England.
The only hot dude in England.
And the rumor is, Paige, he still is.
Oh, man. Right now, he's rocking like some, what's the guy? Reed Richards. Kind of like a little gray on the sides with curls on the top. Oof, magoof. Yes.
Man.
Here for it. Anyway. Sorry, I just watched this movie, so I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I just watched this movie, so I'm sleepy.
I'm very sleepy.
I did take a nap after I watched it. I was like, oh my God.
I had to drink an energy drink, but of course it is 8:30, so.
This is full of monster.
Hell yeah, Paige. I respect the grind.
So are these shorts.
Oh my dear sweet Jesus.
Oh, God. Is that why people run from you?
Or hobble away, baby.
Anyway, we cut to her wedding, and her wedding like feast after, which goes on way too long. But what I do love about
it's
it
shot
is
in real time.
Yeah.
it is shot in real fucking time. Here's what I love about it. Because the Tudors used to do this too, where they have like shows and dancers like in the feasts. And
Yeah.
if you watch this one girl, and I'd never noticed this before, but there's one girl with a conch that's just holding it up in the background. She'll just like dance around and hold it up. But they cut to these dancers like messing up the human knot and like bumping into each other. And it's just kind of, I think, meant to be comic relief. But I'm like, this is taking forever.
I know. It's
Like-
too long. And it really is just like him getting shit-faced.
Yes, completely shit-faced. Because when they eventually go up to their bedroom to air quotes consummate, which by the way, people would have tried to watch. So like,
I'm sure they did consummate that night because you like had to.
he's passed out.
Well, I mean like in real life.
Oh, in real life, yeah, probably. In this movie, he's passed out. So
Oh
like,
yeah, in this movie they don't because he's passed out. Yeah.
yeah, which I think is the movie trying to like sweeten up some history and be
Yeah.
like, she definitely wasn't assaulted. They got to know each other. But real life, probably not. Probably not.
This real life story is terrible for Lady Jane because it is just like her getting married off at a really young age, then used as a pawn and then murdered because her dad's a fucking idiot. So yeah, it's terrible.
It is. Although, even in history, it seems like she and Guilford do eventually at least have very strong feelings for each other. I mean, hell, he
Of
carved her
course
name in
they
stone.
do. It was your first sexual partner ever, at least for her and him probably, and they were only together a month. How much can you hate someone you're fucking in a month?
That's true. But then the whole prison thing. But still, yeah.
Lady Jane has this strong, like, I go to youth group a lot vibe and like tried to run a country like that and then it killed her. And you know what? That's fine.
Yep. But we cut to them headed to their honeymoon the next day. And this is where they encounter the poor people, where he then at like later that night has to be like, hey bitch, maybe you have been sheltered too much to understand, but your parents took their land and that's why they're homeless and need to beg for money. And then you and your parents and the people who make laws branded them for asking for that money, and enjoy your honeymoon on their land, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. These are the only people I was like, I like those people in this movie.
Yep.
Oh, I was like, oh, get away from my cart.
Of course.
You rich bastard with your fucking beach house. Anyway, this is also where we find out that his dad gifted them a set of glassware that will come into play later in the movie.
I can't tell you how much I hate that scene, Paige.
Well, as I was watching it, I was like, I love how they're like, freedom from the classes. And I was like, you mean the people who are going to have to clean up all this glass?
It is the most fucking socially unaware scene I've ever seen. But they are children of like,
They're children.
you know, affluence. Like that's how they would act.
Yeah.
But you just saw those servants' eyes, like, because they're talking also about like socialism. So these servants are like, one, I got to clean up this mess. Two, these kids are being murdered very soon. This is
Very
not going to
soon.
work.
Well, but that's what I kind of like. It's the people who it's like your heart is in the right place, but you are so far removed you don't even understand how to help.
Yeah.
And it's that. Anyway, they on their honeymoon are kind of like at each other the first night of just like, fuck you, don't break glasses, whatever. And then the next day he just kind of like watches her from afar. And then later that night is like, I'm sorry I was an asshole. Tell me about the things you believe. And then they end up making out and having sex because they're children and they're trapped together in a house.
I believe if you just ask God to come into your heart, that you can live a fulfilled life. And I just want to say, I feel Jesus in this youth group tonight. And then they hooked up, which is a lot like my youth group experience. And so like, here for it.
They're married, so it's fair game.
You think the 17-year-olds weren't married in my youth?
No, I know they were, Mikey.
South?
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's fair. It's as far as youth group rules go, it's fair game.
But what Paige just described is like literally on the flip of a dime, Cary Elwes goes from being the worst dude ever to being madly in love with Lady Jane.
Yeah.
But there is no like them falling in love. It's just like he walks over and it's like,
right.
Hey, so what's your deal? Boom, they're in love. Like it's not, it's like the opposite of romantic.
No, he's like, what's your deal on like taxation without representation? And she's
Yeah, how
like,
do you feel about the gold standard? Because I think it fucking rocks. Fiat currency should die.
A shilling isn't even worth a shilling.
I know. That is legit one of their conversations, Paige.
he splooshes his pants when she agrees with him. He's like, oh my God.
I think for me, I'm like, yeah, it's young Cary Elwes. Like, I would take even less convincing.
It's her convincing him with her ideas of just agreeing with what he says.
Oh, I don't think she needed to convince him at all. I think he was in a castle and was like, well, let's see what this girl's up to. Like, why? She's the only one around.
Yes.
But then, like, as it goes, he gets very protective of her and stuff. But
Yeah, of course.
he does also admit that he didn't have sex with that sex worker. He passed out. No surprises here. He's done it 2 or 3 times in this movie.
Yeah, that's the lie I'd pass down to history too, Paige, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
I was like, sure he did. And she's like, oh, I was the first. I was like, I don't think so.
You're my first. That's what I'm going to say on my wedding night. That's going to be the joke.
You're like, I'm a born-again virgin, which is a thing, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
a lot
it
of
is.
people.
I thought it was.
Yeah, when I was on that first date, like this summer, when she turned to me and she's like, God's been telling me that I need to be a born again virgin. And I was like,
God's telling me it's going to feel chilly tonight, so I'm out.
and I was like, what do you feel about the shilling? Because like,
I love the gold standard. Fuck Nixon.
Here's my thing. I don't tell anyone when to have sex or when not to. It's your business. Do what you want to do. Call it whatever you want to call it. But again, if you're on a date with that person, that's also, you're okay to be like, I'm not going to do that. That's great. I just don't want to shame people who have chosen to do that. That's their business.
but also I was like, I don't think I could just wait till marriage right now.
That's your business too.
I mean, honestly, that's what you should do in that situation. And I'm sure she was maybe disappointed, but like,
I don't think she was disappointed.
she should have been because you're a catch. But
She basically all but said, you make this an ezy choice.
Hey, but that's true and that's fine.
and honestly, I'd rather know that on date 1 than date 7,
Yep.
monetarily speaking.
Well, and just time spent.
Yes.
Anyway. So thus commences the less sexy end of season 1 Bridgerton of this movie, where they're just kind of like around, boning, making out, having a good time on their honeymoon, like
Right.
fun times. But we cut to Edward, her cousin, the king, who is actively dying, both of arsenic poisoning and just regular reasons. And
Yeah.
they force him to sign a will that names Jane as his successor. And they tell him that because they threaten that basically they're like, if you let a Catholic on the throne, you go to hell,
Yeah.
is what they tell him in the scene.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely manipulate him even in the movie. They don't necessarily force him to sign it in the movie.
Well, that was basically the Sermon on the Mount, just like right there.
I'm not sure Mikey knows what the Sermon on the Mount was.
I don't think he does. I don't think so.
No, it was Jesus' big Sermon on the Mount. He broke the fish in two and spread them around, and more fish
I mean,
happened.
that does happen during that time. I just don't know how it relates to this scene.
It means what they're saying is not true to any faith of this, because Jesus never said shit about all this stuff that they're fighting about.
That's true, which Jane brings up later.
Oh, yeah, in the worst time to bring up...
Yeah, worst
That's
time
the
to-
dumbest, well, actually, I've ever seen.
Actually, it's not in the script. I was like, Jane.
I know that Jane just be like, I'll eat fish on Fridays, sure. Like, come
Jane,
on.
I realize you're a 17-year-old girl, but stop acting like a 17-year-old girl.
17-year-old girl.
They're going to kill you. no.
Yes.
Anyway, they kill her.
Plan with Guilford to lie to these people and then run.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or just live out your life rich.
I would run because they would definitely still try to kill her. There's no way they weren't going to try to kill her. So if they let her out for even a second, run.
Yeah, that's probably true.
If they could have lived till Elizabeth reigned, they may have lived.
Yeah, if they could have made it to Elizabeth, they would have lived.
They probably could have gotten out of exile, but exile probably is the only thing that would have saved them from Mary.
Yes.
Because Mary killed like a shitload of Protestants while she was. They called her Bloody Mary because of that, right? So she probably would have killed them. Yeah.
Yeah. So they exiled, but then they probably could have come back later. And by then, her mom would have probably been dead. So good for that.
Yeah.
The villain of this film.
Her mom is the villain.
Anyway, they get called back to the palace, and they're like, "Congratulations, Jane, you're queen." And she's just like, "I don't fucking want this. What the fuck? Like, what is happening? Why? No." And she literally screams for Guilford, who's like, "Hey, the queen says get the fuck out." Like, he immediately is like, "Haha, she's queen. We can work this to our advantage."
Yeah.
But he basically talks her into doing it, not for any nefarious means, just because he's a teenager and with ideals.
And also, she didn't have a choice.
Yeah, she doesn't have a choice. Not at all.
It's even super implied in the movie that she never really wanted to be queen, and that the parents, forced them into it.
Yeah.
Now, before they get to the palace, we kind of skipped over, but we briefly talked about it. They do the glass breaking scene where they break all the glasses his father gave while talking about the things that they want.
While inventing socialism, yes.
Inventing socialism?
Yeah.
And then being like, "Clean this up, sir."
It's the most like tone deaf I've ever seen a person be.
It's more Stalinistic socialism.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
It's rich teenagers who have just realized there are problems in the world and don't quite yet see their privilege within it.
No, because their approach to everything is like, well, what if everyone was just like rich or whatever?
What if everyone was just nice? Like, oh, well, all right. Anyway, she agrees to stay queen so that she can, in theory, potentially help the people that she wants to help.
Yeah, and also they were forcing her. She didn't have a choice.
Yeah, she
does have 20 scenes. It's like her parents and her being like, "But mom, I don't want to be queen."
Oh, and her mom stops short of hitting her again only because she's queen.
Yeah.
Because like her mom pulls back as if she's going to be like, "I'm going to punch this little shit." And then she's like, "Oh, but right, you could have me beheaded. Hi, queen."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. It's oof. Anyway.
She's like, "What if I released all the prisoners? Doesn't matter what they did."
She does do that at one point.
She does that because she needs allies, guys. She wasn't releasing all the prisoners. She was releasing all the prisoners that had influence. So like people who were like earls or mayors of towns and shit like that. She was doing that because she had no one to help her and her parents just fucking abandoned her. Like it's
before that point.
Well, but like she had already sent Northumbria to go fight and that didn't go well. Like they were fucked.
No. She reads the scripture. She's like, you don't imprison anybody. Yep. And she's like, so we should free all the prisoners. And I was like, oh, kids, break the glass.
Well, because basically what happens is she's like, here are my demands. And the council is just like, bitch, no. What? You're a puppet. Like, what are you talking about? What demands? What are you don't have demands. And they have laid out a plan to go capture Mary and Elizabeth to solidify Jane's reign. Yeah. Which if she had stuck with their plan, maybe that would have helped, but not guaranteed, right? But instead, she changes it. So she sends Northumberland and keeps her dad with her, but her dad's like the military strategist. So essentially she sends someone inexperienced out to do a very difficult job to begin with.
And geographically speaking, and I'm not from England, so I might get this wrong, but I believe her dad was the Duke of that area where eventually Queen Mary was holed up. So he would be able to garner more support in that area. Northumberland is it borders Scotland. So his influence was much further away.
Not only that, I believe, because they were trying to go to Norfolk,
which I believe is on the east of England. It's I don't know. I think I might be wrong. I think
it was more a case of they were more Catholic. They had more Catholic people.
Sure.
And Northumberland had done a lot of shitty shit to Catholics, and they were like, he's going to be hated there. Like, there's no way he's going to garner support there.
Yeah. And he didn't.
Yeah. And at this point, right as they have like crowned Jane, we find out that Elizabeth and Mary found out ahead of time and they booked it out.
Well, because they were probably going to get murdered.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's what the plan was. And when Queen Jane's mom has that meeting with like the Duke of Northumberland or whatever, the guy who's planning the whole thing, Guilfred's dad, and she's like, well, if we can't kill them, then we're fucked. We have to not do our plan. And he's like, no, we've burned our ships, which is like they've crossed the Rubicon. They can't go back.
Right. They can't go back. Now, in that scene where they're like trying to talk her into being queen, this is the most egregious editing issue where she has to walk to the throne and it takes 14 years.
Oh my God.
Like, I was like screaming in my notes. I was like, Todd's going to hate this. But yes.
Paige, we see her become queen. We see Cary Elwes' reaction to her becoming queen, which makes sense. He's the other victim in all of this. But then we see everyone else's reaction to her becoming queen. And I'm like, I don't even know if we know that person's name. I don't give a shit.
We don't care.
You haven't heard of Duke Underthorpe and of the umbrage of this?
I was really glad to see Clan McMuffin there, personally.
Honestly, someone had to represent Clan McMuffin.
Someone had to represent Clan McMuffin.
Get started on your resolutions with Factor, so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the groceries, prep work, and the cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door with over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more. Plus, over 55 weekly add-ons. You'll have tons of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Factor now offers like a load of snacks. In fact, we just got some of these like smoothies that were really great. They have a banana chocolate smoothie that like I drank way too much of. It was so good. And even better than that, when things get hectic, Factor's like flexible. So you can change up your order every week with plans from like 4 to like 18 meals per week. So you can like have a bunch of meals or just a few meals depending upon like how many times you need meals that week, right? So it's great. So head to factormeals.com/romancingthepod50 and use code romancingthepod50 to get 50% off. That's code romancingthepod50 at factormeals.com/romancingthepod50 to get 50% off.
But they decide they're going to be queen. They come with their demands. She switches who she's sending to war.
Yeah, she sends Guilfred's dad.
Yeah. They begrudgingly do it. And then they're like, perfect. Here's a list of the rest of our demands. And the council is just like, oh, fuck no. And even her mom at one point is like, we can control them. He can be controlled, thinking that they could puppet them, and they're just not puppeting.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I mean, because they're not. They're very much doing their own thing, like which we see when the ambassador from Spain comes in and Queen Jane's like, fuck off, Spain. I'm inventing socialism, which she's not.
I'm giving away my fancy dresses to help the needy.
She literally was just trying to get support anywhere she could. Like, I honestly understood if you're in that situation, you're definitely going to get murdered if you don't win. Why you're going to start issuing wild proclamations that are never actually going to happen that will make the rank and file people follow you and want you to remain queen, right? These are like campaign promises that she could never deliver.
It reminded me of The Great, if you've watched The Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Me
The
too.
Great is a much more fun version of this kind of story.
Well, because it's a comedic premise on history.
Yes.
It's so great.
Well, this film, it would make more sense if they were like Todd doing what you said, which is like, we just want to get more support. But this film sells it as like,
they don't even realize that's what they need.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, in this film, they just seem stupid. But like historically, that's why you would do that. And it honestly probably wasn't them. It was like the people who were like their regents who were like actually running the show, you know?
Yeah, just reaching for anything that would stop their heads from rolling, most likely. Anyway, it's going bad. They're losing the battle outside. And as that's happening, their council abandons them. Also, I'm pretty sure their council was tired of giving things to poor people. So they ally with the Catholics. And Guilfred finds out, drags her to the council room where the council is just fucking gone.
Yeah.
Just gone. And instead of running away like they should have, they sleep in that room.
Which is so dumb. They're like, we'll just stay here, in the capital, in the castle there, and then just like hope that we don't get arrested.
Our love will protect us.
Well, and
No,
they do,
Mikey.
just like they broke the glasses. This time they blow out candles, which at least is less of a cleanup.
Right.
This couple gives off real, I believe in the pull-out method energy.
I actually hate that you said that, but also fully agree. Like, you're definitely right, and I cannot explain why.
Yeah.
Of course we're using protection. He pulls out. And you're like, what?
It's called the rhythm method.
It is called the rhythm method. You need a basal thermometer and some lucky talismans. Anyway, one of the last things she says as they're blowing out the candles is she just says, I want this to be over. Because I think she's tired of doing it. She's like, I didn't want to do this in the first place. Nothing's working. Everyone hates me. They've all abandoned me. I'm probably going to die. I think even at 15, she's not, or 17 or whatever. Like, I think she realizes, like,
Yeah, of course.
This is going to be bad.
The movie is telegraphing this with, it's like juxtaposing, I want this to end with what Edward said right before they let him die.
Yeah.
And she became queen. That's exactly what he said. And now she's saying it. And you're like, oh, okay, well then she's definitely going to die.
Yeah. And her dad is like, your wish is granted because they've named that one guy, Guilford's dad, Northumberland, a traitor. Mary is now the queen. And she just says, what a relief. And I think her dad is like, bitch, you don't understand. Like,
she clearly doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, your head's about to roll.
She's like, you don't need to worry, Dad. We pull out.
Oh, God.
I wish they had pulled out of the castle, Mikey, and didn't just stay there to get arrested. Not pregnant,
Yes.
sorry.
This movie, like, they're the most naive couple in the history of all couples. Worse than Romeo and Juliet, which is incredible.
That is a feat, but you're right.
Anyway, so her dad and mom abandoned her.
Yep.
At the castle, which is wild to me. I'm like, why didn't they be like, bitch, run? Like, nothing. Nope. They leave her the fuck behind.
And they could have just added that line.
They could have taken her with them.
And they could be like, well, no, we refuse. We're going to face this. And you'd be like, oh, that's really on brand, but stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's real dumb.
Very stupid. But of course, the next day, she and Guilford are taken to their respective cells. They are not allowed to see each other. And she then goes to visit her cousin Mary. And Mary's like, hey, bitch. And she's like, please don't kill me. And she's like, they really want me to kill you. And she's like, but please don't, though. And she's just like, look, do you promise you won't try to steal my kingdom again? And she's like, oh my God, of course. Like,
I hated being queen all 9 days. It was terrible.
I hated it. I hated being queen.
This is the story of a girl who became queen and then she got killed. And while she looked so sad in the tower there, I absolutely watched her
lose her head. Yeah, there you go.
I haven't thought about that song in
How many
minutes.
heads in the basket that the peasants all grab and they throw around blood? How many? Yeah. Anyway.
I believe they were one-hit wonder.
I lumped them together with Fastball, so they might have been a one-hit wonder, and Fastball had a few hits.
Fastball has a few hits, but also I love that it's 9 days, like the 9 days queen, like we're
That's
talking
how I got there. That's why I chose them to sing. Yeah.
High-level jokes.
This is the comedy of Todd. And by that, I mean mediocre.
Mediocre. Anyway, so she's like, I promise I will never try to be queen again. And Mary is just like, all right, fine, just go. And she's like, what about my husband? And she's like, don't give me another reason to kill you. Like, please just go. But she does at this point allow her and Guilford to be in the same cell.
And she does also sort of allude to the fact that she is going to intervene when Parliament or whoever decides that they're going to be killed for their treason.
Right.
That she's going to step in and be like, no, I'll pardon you or whatever.
Right.
I'm not quite sure if it's a pardon or whatever, but
a reprieve.
Yeah. Save their lives, more or less.
Yeah, and we see that Guilford, up until this point, has been locked up with his father.
Yeah, which would be a nightmare.
But she's just like, that guy's like, well, I guess I'm Catholic now.
he literally does the spectacles, testicle, wallet, watch. Like,
immediately.
He's like, oh, shit. let's get all 7 communions. What? Like, he's just going crazy about it. I did love, as she leaves the meeting with Mary the first time, the Spanish ambassador's walking in and he gives her that side eye. I was like, hell yeah.
Yep. So Guilford and his dad at one point is just like, I misjudged you because I thought I could control you and clearly I couldn't. And he's like, and now I feel bad because I made you marry this girl that you at least think you're in love with because you're a teenager. And he's like, did they let you see her? And he's like, no. And he starts crying and you're just like, oh God, like, it's so sad. But also teenagers.
Yeah, that made sense to me. What didn't make sense to me was his dad being like, hey man, I really misjudged you. I thought I could make you my puppet, but because you're not, this is all your fault because you weren't my puppet good enough. Like, fuck you, old douche.
Yes.
What are you, 35? God.
God damn it. Anyway, she and Guilford get a cell together, and they seem very happy about it, at least in the film. Then Queen Mary and the ambassador have a conversation where the ambassador's like, oh, did you want to marry our prince? Then you better fucking kill those kids.
If you want to come party in Ibiza, then you got to kill them kids. Hey, every white woman needs to find herself. Eat, pray, love.
Eat, pray, Ibiza.
Eat, pray, Ibiza.
I'm pretty sure it's Ibiza, right?
It's Ibiza.
Ibiza.
There is a wild bad rom-com that I watched one time on Netflix.
I watched that too.
Did you?
How did you know what she was going to say?
Because it's like
With
called
Rob Stark?
Ibiza.
Yes.
Rob Stark and the chick from Community.
Which one?
Yes.
Jillian.
Britta.
Britta.
I'm less interested, but still interested.
The cast is really good. The movie is terrible. It's like if you put all the ingredients in your like vegetable soup, they're like really fresh ingredients, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a great soup, and you stir it up and you taste it, and you're like, oh, this is dog shit. What happened? That's what that movie.
That's that movie, especially because it's written by the woman who wrote the movie Fresh.
Wow.
I know.
So does Rob Stark eat ass?
It implies that Rob Stark does everything, and we get to see a lot of it, and I was here for it.
You get it, Rob Stark. King of the North. Let's go.
Yeah. Hello, Bodyguard. What's up?
Bodyguard actually does slap. I've seen that.
Bodyguard fucking slaps.
Yeah, man.
And also that series on Netflix. Both the Kevin Costner and
also that Bodyguard slaps. Yeah.
All variation of Bodyguard slaps.
Absolutely.
Here for it. We should watch that at some point because it is bad and we would laugh at it quite a bit.
What, Bodyguard?
No, Ibiza.
We should definitely do Ibiza, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one to do because it's terrible.
Is it called that? Yes, from 2008. Richard Madden, Gillian Jacobs. How does this have a 3.3 star rating?
It had to be 2018,
no, sorry,
right?
2018, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Rob Stark's 7 in it.
Also, Vanessa Bayer is in it as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you see they opened a Rip Bodice in New York page?
I did. I've been following their build for it because they've been posting it on Instagram. I'm very happy for them. It looks amazing. I can't wait to go.
Yeah, Dana from our Facebook group posted about it in our Facebook group. Yeah.
I'm very excited to see them expand. The people who run Ripped Bodice are good people, and so I'm glad to see them succeed. I'm also, because I'm in San Diego this coming weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's a new one in San Diego called Meet Cute that I'm going to check out and see how good that is.
Love it.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to make a store like that. It's going to be a romance bookstore and a barbecue place.
Called Meet Cute.
M-E-A-T, yeah.
Come on down, get a book and some brisket.
Oh my God, I love it. Todd, just so you know that in Ibiza, the movie, Rob Stark plays a DJ and they follow him from DJ gig to DJ gig on Ibiza.
I cannot wait to watch this movie. You know how much training it took Rob Stark to learn how to be a DJ? It took seconds.
Well, there's also a movie that I have not forced you to watch because it's a real downer and kind of a slog to get through called Monday.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Lady Jane.
No, I already too late. Too late. The Jane train left the station.
Paige, I love you, and I'm so glad you picked a shitty movie because I've picked so many turds. I was like,
I rarely do.
God, it wasn't me this time.
It wasn't you this time, but no, there's a movie called Monday, which is Sebastian Stan playing a DJ. And it's one of those movies where couples just argue for like an hour and a half straight, but you do get to see full frontal. So
Stand full frontal or?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm interested, a little less interested, but I'm still interested.
That just came out, didn't it?
No, 2020.
Because it's supposed to be like a one-night stand. They try to see if they can make a relationship of it.
Which, now, here's the one thing I will say for it. While I don't find it super fun to watch, because you watch people argue for most of the movie, and I don't particularly like movies like that, I do think it's very realistic. Because it's like, one night stand, let's see if it'll work out. And it aggressively does not, because they're just like two people who don't fucking know each other. Or whatever. And I feel like it is very accurate in that way. But it's one of those ones where you're like, man, we're going to sit through like 6 arguments in this.
I love that.
We get to see them naked. So like, it's up to you. Choose your own adventure, I guess.
Paige, I can only watch it next. Like, I can't watch it now. So like, you can stop selling me on it. I'm here for it.
I'm not trying to sell you.
Well, yeah, because I'm already sold.
I bought it on discount. It's in my house. Amazon already delivered it. Anyway, they're in prison together briefly, but they are probably going to get killed.
Prison sex.
Oh, prison. This is the one time that sounds kind of sexy, except then I kept thinking about how many rats and bugs would be there.
I mean, but listen, if you're locked in the Tower of London with your significant other, you're gonna fuck. And you absolutely should.
You see, Paige, Todd has a documented history of having sex where there's lots of rats and bugs.
And bugs and needles.
I wouldn't say it's something I'm proud of, but would do again.
Here's the thing. You lock me up anywhere with young Cary Elwes, it's going to happen.
Honestly, Paige, if it's just him and me for a long period of time, maybe same.
Todd, how long would it even really take? Be honest.
It would take a while, Paige, because, like, I don't know. I'm not super into dudes, so I'm thinking like 40, 50 minutes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly.
It's Cary Elwes, Mikey.
It's Cary Elwes. It's Wesley, as you wish. It's the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah.
He's living like a king in Asagonia.
Macedonia. Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. We haven't had many sidetracks we've been staying on topic.
I know. We blew through this episode and I was like, this episode's about to be too short. How did that fucking happen? I don't think we've ever had this problem.
It's largely because we hated the movie.
I didn't hate it. I just recognized that it could move faster. Yeah, we're not done with it yet.
They whispered in the corner a lot, and then I was like, where's Professor X? Jane Grey is not doing well.
Lady Jane Grey. Yeah.
Find all of the peasants. Find them all. Yeah.
I can't wait to watch the sequel to this, Lady Jane Phoenix Grey.
Oh.
That's a comic book joke. Wherever he is, John Reisinger is laughing right now.
Yeah, probably not listening.
No, yeah. Clearly he wouldn't be listening to this. I'm just saying
we
that
just
right now
summoned
he
him
is
with
laughing.
Cerebro.
Yeah.
This movie feels like a movie I watched in high school that I didn't pay attention to.
Mikey, fully same. This is like when your English teacher
had her baby, and then the sub came in and was like, we're watching Lady Jane. You're
you
like,
literally watched Lady Jane for 3 months while your teacher is like, on maternity leave.
This would be at least 3 or 4 periods. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now, okay, did you guys have a go-to movie that school would make you watch on like a rainy day when you couldn't do PE outside or something like that?
Apollo 13, Paige.
No shit, really?
Yeah, we watched that shit so much, and it still slaps. I love that movie.
Oh, Mikey, what was yours?
I'm trying to think. I don't even remember.
Ours, we had 2. It was either Hook or Princess Bride.
Oh my God. There is no value in that. I watched Apollo 13 in science class because my science teacher quit halfway through my 10th grade year. And we had I am not joking, has to have been 95-year-old substitute named Mr. Haywood. And they never let him actually teach anything. When you saw Mr. Haywood was your sub, they were going to wheel in a cart with the TV on it. And you were watching Apollo 13.
Apollo 13. So Princess Bride and Hook was primarily for PE. Like because we didn't have a gym or at least not a big enough gym. So like if it was raining outside, we probably weren't dressing out or whatever. But we had to watch other stuff in other classes. Like I took French and we had to watch Count of Monte Cristo. the Henry Cavill one. But my teacher was like, this is inaccurate to the book, and would like fast forward through sections of it because part of our French project had been translating it from French into English. Like we had to read it in French and then do reports on it. And so I didn't even realize that Henry Cavill was in it. I was just like, wow, I guess Guy Pearce is the villain. What are we doing?
I mean, yes, Guy Pearce is the villain for sure.
Oh, cool. Great.
Of that movie. Yeah.
It got fast forwarded a lot. That, and we watched a movie called Au revoir les enfants, which is very sad.
If you want to watch a really good French movie, watch Blue is the Warmest Color.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they could have shown that in school.
Mikey, I love that you got that joke because, like, busted, motherfucker. I got you.
Oh, I've seen it also. Like,
It's a
I know
sad
what's
movie
up.
too, though.
It is so
the
sad.
French pretty much only make sad movies.
I have almost picked that movie 2 Pride months in a row.
I'd do it. I would 100% watch that movie.
We have to do it.
It's
I
so
would do
sad,
it. I'd do
man.
that for y'all.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Thank you for taking the L for us, Mikey. Thank you for doing it for us.
The whole
you.
reason I didn't pick it is because I was like, I would really prefer not to do super sad ones. Like, I would love to have happy ones, but eventually
The
we'll do it.
French don't make happy. They all make sad relationship dramas, and then they made The Fifth Element. I don't understand what happened.
Well, Fifth Element, if you know some of the stories behind it, still a sad relationship drama.
Oh yeah, because of his ex. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I still love that film.
Anyway, back to this movie, I guess.
Yeah.
The armies fail. And
Well, Northumberland's armies fail. Queen Mary's armies do fine.
right. But then Jane's dad is just like, I've got to do this for my daughter. And so he's going to like join up with the other rebels. They also fail.
This is the reason his daughter gets killed, though. Like, because they even allude to that in this movie, because when he, of course, fails, because he's a fucking moron, when he fails, they ask, well, who were they shouting for? Who were the rebels shouting
Yes.
for? And they're like, they were saying Lady Jane. So they're like, okay, well, then we have to kill her.
Pugachev. Oh, no. Sorry.
Can you play this scenario in Crusader Kings 3?
Okay, the only reason I know any geography of England is because I have
love Crusader
played
Kings 3.
1,000 hours of Crusaders Kings 3. Mikey, that's not hyperbole. I can screenshot it and show you. I played 1,000 hours of that game.
It's like my Rim World.
God damn it is, and I love it.
Jake bought me a hand video game thing so I could play Sonic. So I'm excited about that. But like old Sonic, like Sonic 2.
Hell
Did
yeah.
Sonic 2 teach you the geography of England page?
No, just Green Hill Zone. Yeah. But also those movies slap. They don't like fit into any of our podcasts, but the Sonic movies better than they have any right to be.
I've not seen any of them, and I love Ben Schwartz.
Oh wow! When next time you're feeling down or
Yes.
sick, you have a double feature waiting for you. That is the perfect cheer you up kind of double feature.
Absolutely. Watch the first one for sure, and then I haven't seen the second one yet, but I heard nothing but good things.
Oh, the second one's great too. It's probably the best work Jim Carrey's done in 10 years as well.
Agreed.
Well, that does not surprise me at all, but that's good to hear.
He was at Roast Battle the other day, and he was not funny there either.
Did he try and be funny?
He was a judge.
Well, I mean,
And he was just like, I think you guys both did great. And we were like, dude,
so he wasn't trying to be funny?
apparently
Yeah.
not.
I do sort of get the vibe that Jim Carrey doesn't consider himself a comic anymore. He considers himself an actor. So, like, it doesn't surprise me he went there and just did not make a joke.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Quentin Tarantino went there and made hella jokes. Like, roll with the room. Even if you don't consider yourself a comic, roll with the room.
I mean, yeah, do that, but no one's going to expect Quentin Tarantino to be funny.
I know,
Yeah.
and it was great when he was.
I know, but like that's what I mean. He can throw like lowbrow humor, and it's gonna be funny. With Jim Carrey, you might expect too much, you know?
I
Because
guess.
Jim Carrey's like a douche. So like, I don't know if he is or not, but like you know, like he just seems pretentious to me.
Well, yeah, because he's super into painting now, which I do dig. But like,
Nothing wrong
also
with that.
super into his wife's anti-vaxxer shit, which I don't dig.
They're not married anymore.
Oh, are they not married anymore?
He divorced McCarthy or whatever. They divorced, and then he kind of had like a weird. I think he went through some stuff.
Yeah, he's been going through some stuff.
He like grew that beard and talked philosophy for like 6 months, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
he's gonna.
he did not have a beard when I saw him, but
So that's good.
he's coming out of it. Maybe I don't know. You could cut most of this if it wasn't funny.
I'll keep the good bits. When I call Jim Carrey a douche for no reason, sorry, Jim. I don't know you at all.
Anyway, back to this movie. So the army's chanted her name. It's gonna get her killed because now Spain is like, yo, you better fucking kill those fucking kids. You got to kill them kids or we won't give you any of our paella.
Okay, I'm back on Spain's side.
Just with castanets, just like ding, 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 ding,
Which is so
kill the
funny
kids.
because Catholics are against abortion.
I think you'll find most of them don't give a shit once the baby's born about the baby anymore.
They aborted her reign in the first trimester.
It definitely would have been the first trimester at 9 days. Yeah. She might not have even noticed she was queen, Mikey.
Oh, God. Dark truths. Anyway, Spain is like, you can't have our prince or our paella if you don't kill them children.
Yeah.
If you want the dick, they got to get the stick.
Yep. And by stick, we mean dying.
Yeah, the axe. Yeah.
The axe. And so she's like, well, okay, but what if they convert to Catholicism? And they're like,
We'll think about
fine.
it. Yeah. And so she sends Dr. Feckenham, and he goes and like,
What? Who's that?
he's the doctor from the first time you meet Jane.
Yeah.
It's just like, he's in 2 scenes, Mikey. But like,
Is he the one who's like, do you want to be Catholic?
Yeah.
yeah, and she's
Okay.
like, no.
Yeah.
Like an idiot. For the sake of my immortal soul.
She's like,
Yeah.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I feel him in this youth group tonight.
I feel God in this prison tonight. Like, what are we
And
doing,
here's
Jane?
the thing is like, because I was watching this and I remembered her doing, because I had seen the movie before. I remembered her doing this and being like, girl, just lie. But then he's like, how many sacraments are there? And I was like, oh, I know whatever answer I have is the wrong answer for this. So maybe she would have failed no matter
It's always 7.
what.
It's always 7.
Why is it? Well, I guess people love 7.
Even if she said 2 and he was like, no, they're 7, and she had been like, oh yeah, my bad, 7. What are they again? I think he would have been like, no, she converted. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he would have been fine. He after she got the quiz wrong, he's like, let me give you the answers now.
Yes.
And then we're going to talk
This
about
is open book.
Yeah.
Except none of the answers are in the book. Convenient. Because she's like, what scriptures are those in? And he's like, shh, we don't read the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, shh.
He's like, we use it more of like a guideline to control people, but we make up a lot of fanfic on the side.
No, that's in Kobe's book, the King James Bible.
You're thinking of LeBron James, not Kobe, you fucking idiot.
I was so confused.
I was like, God.
That's the last time I make a sports show. Which one died?
Kobe.
Kobe.
But LeBron James is okay.
He's okay. We're just not super happy with him on the Lakers.
But more or less, Dr. Frankenfurter, or whatever his
Right,
name is, he talks to her about potpourri a lot. And I was like, just say yes.
I don't care how it smells.
Yeah, just say yes to the potpourri. Like, whatever. Say whatever it takes to get you out of here alive.
Everyone loves dried flowers.
I know, right?
So the doctor leaves the room, turns to her mother, and was like, your daughter has a fatal case of being a fucking dumbass.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I'm just going to convert and be fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
You're cured, ma'am. Go with God.
Well, and we reveal that Guilford did the same thing. So both of them are like, no, at least we've got each other, even though we're going to get killed tomorrow.
I'll hold your head in eternity. And I was like, oh, boy.
When they
Yeah.
say, I'm glad we did this for the sake of our immortal soul, I laughed out loud for like 30 minutes. I couldn't believe that these children had such little regard for their own lives.
If you think about it, it's really nice that some people have conviction that's helping people, I guess, because they're trying to help people.
What does the fact that they're in prison have to do with anything, Mikey?
Oh, the conviction? I got
Convicted, yeah.
it. Yeah. That's cool. But I mean, also,
She leaves and escapes to Italy or something. She's like, I've got priors. Yeah, no.
yeah. I don't know. It's a sweet, people used to,
Well,
people
they're
believe that
children.
stuff. Yeah.
They're children.
Yeah, well, for the record, I don't really think that, I don't know. I think that they would have gotten killed anyway.
I think so too.
I don't think they had this option. The movie plays it like they do, and they stood firm for their faith, because this is nothing if not a Protestant propaganda film. But I don't think they had a choice.
Not really. They do talk about how we killed a bunch of people.
Sure. I mean,
But they
Yeah.
were right to kill him because they were Catholic. That's what the film said.
sort of, yeah.
Name 3 things a Catholic priest has been known for in the last 50 years that don't involve felonies.
Oh, how much time do I have to think about it? Anyway, They take Guilford away, and he goes and dies off screen. We don't see it. But then the priest comes back for her.
Which is such a blue balls move. Like, I wanted to see both their executions.
Right.
We didn't get to see Cary Elwes' pretty little head plop off.
Oh, God, that hair. He's got amazing hair.
Dreamy. I wanted to say, when they were talking to Dr. Frankenfurter in that room, and she keeps saying what she said before, he said he was a vine and he was a door. Is he a vine and a door? I'm like, bitch, pretend for a second to know what a metaphor is so you could survive.
Yeah, because then Dr. Frankenfurter's like, I'll get you a satanic mechanic. But it's just a guy who's going to cut her head off.
Well, he also says, like, hey, if you change your mind, up to the moment the blade comes down, I'm can
here
save
for you. Yeah.
And he does walk her out, right? Like, he is there.
Oh, yeah, he stands on the platform. And he did it for her husband, too. That's why he knows what happened.
Good God.
I feel bad for that guy. He's got the worst role of this. He's like, God.
You fucking teenager.
He's like, I'm a doctor. I obviously don't believe any of this.
Oh, God. But she goes out. She dies. Although she can't find the head block initially. And poor thing.
Okay. I'll be honest with you. If I'm getting killed like this, I'm definitely going to prolong my execution through silly little bits like this. Oh, no! I must be too far away. Where is the block I put my head on so you could cut it off? Like, that would be me
up
for
there
sure.
And be like, oh, I misunderstood. But they do kill her, and they give her shilling, her real shilling, to Queen Mary, who cries because it's like her cousin.
She died how she lived, giving great head.
Oh.
This is not Nancy Reagan. Unfortunately, she lived a long, full life.
He did carve her name into the Tower of London.
You got to have a strong head game for you to carve something somewhere.
Right, into stone. Anyway.
I don't think he did it with his dick.
We don't know that. We weren't there. It's been lost to the anal of history.
That's not how you say that word, baby. But Paige, let me ask you a clarifying question. Did he carve her name in the room that they shared together?
No, his cell that he had alone.
That he shared with his dad for a while?
No, because his dad gets released.
Yeah, because his dad's smart and said, I'm Catholic right now.
He's like, I love the Pope. Let's get out of jail.
He's like, I love the flowers that you like dry out and put on the back of your toilet.
Pope.
Yeah,
potpourri, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for the potpourri and the free crackers.
And free wine.
And free wine.
Yeah.
So, but Queen Mary's sad about it, but is like, well, I'm going to go meet my husband, though. This was definitely worth it. And as she walks through the room, who is there but Jane's mother, who didn't even watch her execution and is just there for the Queen. Just complete self-preservation. Fuck everybody else. And
that's the movie.
So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what'd you guys think about Lady Jane?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I like this kind of nerdery. So, like, I get it. I understand why other people don't, but I still liked it.
I don't think England is great, you know?
Are you just learning this?
I think I'm just like putting the pieces together.
Man, I'm glad that you're telling me because this is the first I've heard of it.
Well, and Todd's been there. I don't know if you remember.
Todd's been there.
Oh, yeah, but when you're in England, you get a lot of like pro-English propaganda. Just like a heads up on that. Yeah.
When you go there, they're like, this is the road that King Shumberry walked down on his way to the Wonka's factory or whatever the hell. I don't understand.
It's weird that we took the same tour because that's exactly what the guy said. That's so weird. No, but like when you go to England and you go to the museums, it definitely says this artifact was acquired, not this artifact was stolen. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, America does that too. Like we're just as bad, if not worse. Yeah.
We are super guilty of that.
Let's play a game. Let's name a pub. Okay, so it's like over there's like, oh, the sand lamp and like the star painting. It's like they just make shit up and then like throw two words.
No, it's much more like Colonel Pig's Dick or like the Donkey's Revenge. Like that's how they name their pubs.
It's the Fox in the Bottle, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
They're amazing though because you have to put them in while they're lying down, and then you stand them up once you get them in the bottle.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? So what did you guys think about this dog shit of a movie?
Oh, Yeah, not a super big fan of this one.
I honestly feel like we got punished, and that's the reason we had to watch this movie.
This is the closest I came to feeling like I was back in high school in a long time.
Yeah, I do feel like we just all went to Paige's mother's English class and had to watch Lady Jane.
Yeah, I asked someone if I could use the bathroom while I watched this film.
You were like, "Can I get a hall pass? I gotta pee."
Yeah.
Excuse me. Y'all did have multiple choices, and I gave you 2 chances
I
to
don't
abandon
think you
this
can blame
ship.
us for your terrible pick, but I've made way more terrible picks than this is the only bad pick I think you've ever had, and I've had like 12.
I've had like one other bad pick, but it still resulted in a very fun episode.
Oh, this will be a fun episode.
Every pick Todd does is like, hey, everybody, I'm going to pick a film that I heard about once written on a bathroom stall. Here we go.
Jenny, I've got your movie. I'm gonna make you watch.
Okay, I need your sister to make a parody song about Romance in the Pod into the tune of that 8675309 by Tommy Two-Tone.
Correct.
Anyway, I hated this movie. I hope to never watch it again. It was cool to see young Helena and young Cary. Like, that was cool. But when that, like, coolness factor wears off 30 seconds into this movie, you realize you have 2.5 hours of nonsense to sit through. I paused this movie an hour and 14 minutes in and had, like, a single tear when I realized I wasn't yet quite halfway through it.
I love that.
But, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Yes.
Well, here it is with your fun facts. Lady Jane,
fun facts. So Cary Elwes is actually related to Guilford Dudley and Lady Jane Grey on his father's side.
Of course, he probably comes from a very rich family.
Because England is all inbred. Yes, get
All
it.
inbred. He's the direct descendant to Dudley and Grey's siblings, Mary Dudley, Guilford's sister, and Catherine Grey, Jane's sister, who was also the wife of Edward Seymour. So via those lines, he is related.
God, that is actually cool. Yeah.
Yeah. This movie, by casting Helena Bonham Carter, portrays Jane as a dark-eyed, dark-haired girl, but in reality, Lady Jane Grey was very, very fair with blonde hair and light eyes. She was described as being very pleasant-looking, except for her freckles, which were considered unbecoming on a young lady at the time.
I dig freckles, man. That's dumb.
Swipe left.
Freckles? Ooh. No. Freckles are hot. Y'all are crazy.
I enjoy freckles. I usually, because when I put makeup on, my freckles don't show up as much, so I add them back in.
Oh.
Yeah, on people I date, not on the queen that we're going to put on a penny or whatever the fuck we're doing.
A shilling, Mikey. Fuck fiat currency.
Shilling.
I don't know what a shilling is. It sounds like Monopoly made up money.
Well, they probably feel that way about pennies and dollars. So
Well,
it's the amount of silver you could like trade that
Yeah.
for, right? So like a pound, I'm assuming, is based on a pound, maybe? I don't know. That
I
can't
don't
be
know.
true.
I thought they were made out of silver. Like
They
weren't we
were.
all on the gold standard at one point? And that's when the
At
economy
one
was
point,
strong.
but it doesn't quite work. There are problems with the gold standard that we don't have
It's
time to talk
certainly
about
not
right
a
now.
perfect standard. I don't think fiat currency is perfect either, but it's like, which is the lesser of two evils, whatever.
Yeah, we don't have the time.
All I know is Jane fucking hates fiat currency. She's all about that silver standard, baby.
Yes. Now, this movie was cast with a number of actors from the Royal Shakespeare Company because Trevor Nunn, who was the director of this movie, was also the director of the Royal Shakespeare Company. So that's how we get Patrick Stewart in this. He was with the Royal Shakespeare Company at the time because he was not yet on Star Trek. That's also how he found Helena Bonham Carter, where she was about to go to Cambridge University. So she was about 19, 20 at the time.
She was probably 19 when she filmed it. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I actually looked up her age because I wondered, because she's so young in this.
She looks very young. Yeah, she looks much younger than she is, I would say.
Yeah.
But the director, Trevor Nunn, saw her in Tatler. So it's her photograph in Tatler where she'd been a last-minute replacement for her cousin, a woman named Virginia.
Tatler Magazine?
Mm-hmm.
No
Yes.
shit. Okay.
Yes, and thus gave her the role of Lady Jane. So she got it based on looks. She is a very striking person, for sure, as far as like appearance. The director also personally chose Cary Elwes and offered for him to join the Royal Shakespeare Company, but Elwes turned it down to do Princess Bride.
Oh, what a shame. Yeah. Thank God he did.
Yeah, same, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are conflicting accounts. Most accounts say that they were not imprisoned together or if they were, it was only for brief periods of time, not the whole time. So they were likely separated most of that time.
I did love, sorry to go back into like what happens in the movie, but I did love when the Dr. Frankenfurter comes out and they're going to separate them again. And he's like, it's their last night alive. Please just let them have sex. Like
They're the dumbest people alive. Just let this happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Cary Elwes' grandfather, Simon Elwes, was a painter and was known for painting portraits of British high society. So he was actually friends with Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who just recently passed away, played obviously by Helena Bonham Carter in The King's Speech. So kind of fun little synchronicity there.
This is the second fun fact that you've said today that makes me believe Cary Elwes comes from just like extreme wealth.
Probably. That's how you get to be that pretty.
That's true. You either get to be that pretty or you get to be a Habsburg. So it's like,
right.
One or the other.
One or the other. Cary Elwes and Patrick Stewart have appeared together again on film in Robin Hood Men in Tights. This was their first time together on screen. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for Lady Jane?
A real shilling.
Wait till we talk about how much it made.
I'm going to say like 1 million.
Okay.
600,000 pounds.
I'm not going to do the conversion, so we're just going to call that dollars. But you'll be happy to know that this was actually $8.5 million.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In 1986.
Well, there's a lot of people in it and a lot of costumes and shit. Like, that makes sense.
Sure. If you adjust that for inflation, though, that's like $23.7 million today.
Which is low for what a period piece like this would cost today. So
probably, because like all the sets and everything has to look, of the period, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't even have like towns in the background. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So it came out early in the year, like February-ish in 1986. It wasn't in the theaters very long, but because it premiered on February 7th, that means it was definitely running on February 12th, the anniversary of their beheadings, which...
Oh, shit.
When I looked that up, when they were actually beheaded, like the day, I literally saw it and I was like, it's my birthday.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be my new anecdote. It used to be that it was Abraham Lincoln's birthday, but now it's the day that these people got killed. Anyway, it wasn't in theaters very long and didn't make a lot of money. But how much do you think it made worldwide in the box office?
600,000 pounds.
I'm going to go 800,000.
I'm going to assume both of those are dollars. They actually made $277,000.
That checks out.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
I don't even see how you could cut an interesting trailer from this film.
I do think it would be impossible. Yeah. Although out there, I challenge you to make a good trailer because that would be fun to watch. Okay. If you adjust for inflation, that would be $774,000. This movie didn't do well in theaters. It did really well in English classrooms, probably in the early and late 90s.
One of those big VHS boxes.
They had to like wheel in a tube TV on a cart like it's middle school.
I gave somebody $3 today, so...
yeah, I had to rent it today. I did not buy it, thank God.
No, I only rented it, yes.
No.
I think I actually do have a copy of it somewhere, but I wasn't going to dig for it.
I would only buy this movie if I had like a severe English teacher kink. You know what I'm saying? Like, this would definitely get me.
I don't. It's the poor grammar.
Oh, God.
So, Mikey, do you want to hit him with that romance scale?
Yeah, the romance scale is a scale of 1 to 10. How romantic we found the film today. Paige.
1?
Todd.
I honestly wish I could go negative. It's definitely a 1. It's also like a 0 or a 1 on the lion roar scale, whatever is the lowest number I can pick. Even though I think, do see Helena topless at the end of this movie.
We also see Cary Elwes' butt.
Okay.
We may abandon the romance scale and just go to the 1 out of 4 lion roars at some point. I just want to throw it out there.
Well, they're for two different things, right? One is romance and one is like how sexy it was.
But what, as a podcast, do we care about?
It's definitely that roar scale, baby.
We have let the spit list fall by the wayside, and I think we need to revive the spit list.
I think that's because largely you forgot about it, and you were the only one who talked about it ever.
You added Jeff Goldblum. Y'all added Jeff Goldblum to it.
Thickums Goldblum could In fact,
Yeah, 80s Goldblum. We vibed.
love it. Did we all do the romance scale?
Oh, I give it a 2 because I thought that they were stupid and naive, but like believably so.
Oh, so you thought that they were fully in, quote, love?
Yeah.
Like the high school love?
What they believed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only character that's missing is like the Cary Elwes' friend who like they used to be really close and they started dating this girl and he's like, this isn't going to work out. And he dropped me as a
He's
friend.
like, why did you quit band, Cary Elwes?
Yeah, exactly. We used to be friends, and now it's always her. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Well, I'm Catholic now. Well, anyway, so that's our romance scale.
So this week, Paige, you made us watch Lady Jane, and for that, you won't get to pick again for 2 more weeks. Mikey, what are you gonna make us watch next week?
We're going to do My Father the Hero since I'm at the beach.
Oh,
I was gonna.
my
Wait,
God.
that's not really a love story, is it?
It's a coming of age-ish story, but it's
Is it?
mainly about Gerard Depardieu.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no romance in it.
No,
is
I think there is because he helps his daughter, who is Katherine Heigl.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he helps her romance.
Comedy
a girl.
romance is
Yes.
what it is on. Yeah.
Well, and he falls in love with someone at the beach too. Like it's a
Okay.
like
All right.
but Paige, I mean, it's not really
Yeah.
it's not really romantic. Yeah, it's no 365.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But mainly because there's no way Gerard Depardieu has the cardio to support that kind of fucking.
Of course not. Only Massimo can, or Nacho.
I've read the synopsis and it's the daughter falls in love and to get the guy to like him more, she lies to the guy and says her father is actually her lover.
Oh, gross. I cannot
hate
wait
that. Let's
to
do it.
revisit this. I actually have seen this movie a bunch when I was a kid and thought it was
I know
funny.
I saw it when I was a kid. Yeah, I can't remember.
But I haven't seen it in probably like
20
15,
plus
20
years.
Yeah.
Easy.
Let's revisit this film.
Oh, God. The one thing I remember from this movie is him singing Thank Heaven for Little Girls.
Yes.
After
yes.
hearing your premise, I hate it.
I hate it so much.
I can't wait to talk about it, though. So your homework for next week is to watch My Father the Hero and take note of everything that's now gross and make sure we cover them all on that episode. So, Mikey, do you have a review for us to read?
No, I dropped my phone like 7 minutes ago.
Well, while you're looking one up, let me tell them how they can have their review right on the podcast, and that's to leave us a 5-star text review, and we'll have Mikey read it for you. So, Mikey, whose review are you going to read this week?
That's a great question.
I thought so. That's why I asked it.
Marcia Mello 92.
You've done that one.
Amante 3584.
Well, what does Amante 3584 have to say?
Don't have to watch romantic movies, ...
Oh, is it cut off or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually it. I'm looking at it right now, and it says don't have to watch romantic movies.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
I came across this podcast while listening to the horror version. I love it because I don't usually watch romance movies, but I'm still curious. He's romance curious.
Yeah.
Or they are romance curious.
It's because he likes like 1 or 2 movie genres. Like he's curious about another. He's like bi-curious. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Sure.
Uh-huh. But with B-U-Y because they want to know what movies to purchase.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, like you would buy.
Mm-hmm. The way you guys explain the movie, then go off in tangents, and Todd is trying to reel y'all back to the movie, I find hilarious.
Is it me who normally reels us back? I think that's like Paige.
No, I
Paige
think we
normally does
rotate.
that.
No, I think we
We
definitely
share
rotate.
the responsibility. Yeah.
Well, and we're all terrible at it, honestly.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we're good at it. Okay. 5-star emoji. You guys are great, and I can't wait to listen to more of y'all podcast. 5 stars.
Well, thank you very much for that awesome 5-star review. And if you want to have Mikey read your review, leave us a 5-star review. So, guys, if you like this power throuple that we have here on this podcast, make sure to check out our other podcast, The Horror Virgin. And that is the only other podcast that Mikey and I are on. But Paige gets around, and she is on 2 other podcasts, Black Card Rehab, and Cult Podcast. So guys, definitely check out those because they're amazing. If you want to follow us on social, we are at Romancing the Pod Show.
Yes.
On Instagram, and we are at something else on Twitter who I just have never taken the time to learn
It's just Romancing Pod Show because they have a character limit and it's show SHO like Showtime.
So guys, check that out as well. And if you want to follow us all individually, Paige is at Rampage Wesley everywhere, including TikTok.
Except for Twitter, where she is at Paige Wesley. Mikey is at mrandolph24, and I am at Todd J. Awesome everywhere. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion. Mikey, would you get beheaded for the first girl you dated in high school?
No.
Me either. I'd be Catholic in a heartbeat. Bye! Mm-hmm. Just convert to Catholicism, nerds.
We got to review. I got to read this one next. Michael and Taylor Swift would be adorable together.
Oh, so you mean you found Taylor Swift's burner account?